Hello students, ISDS 2000 business statistics students. I was going to send you a video message tomorrow, but a number of you are struggling with the problem, and so I wanted to go ahead and get this out to you tonight to hopefully allay some frustration. I know this is new for you, and you all are doing a great job of getting in there, figuring out the requirements of the course, getting set up in Connect, and this will just all be very routine and in short order. But I really want to pat you on the back for not delaying and for getting right out there. Now, one of the problems in particular, you may or may not see that it is exercise 2. It's in chapter 2, number 47. But you'll definitely, you'll say, yep, that's the one, when it talks about in Canada the exports, and there's a part B and C to this question. I tell you what I think is going on in this particular problem. This problem has multiple sections to it, and as you may or may not realize at this point, the questions are randomly delivered to you, but that's not the only random thing. In other words, the fact that this question may come first or third or second, that part is randomized, but also the numbers change, and in fact various parts of the problem change. So for example, as I look at these numbers here, you don't have this, but I'm just going to do this as an example. I'm going to tell it to see another version, and it just randomly generated these numbers. Okay, now I'm going to advance to the next part of this question, and I realize that your screens work a little bit differently. Okay, don't worry about that as much as focus on the fact that the numbers are changing. And so what's happening down here, for example, this particular time it's asking me about petroleum products. Okay, well, for some of the problems that you've sent to me, you've asked about passenger cars, or you've asked about aluminum, or you've asked about car parts and accessories. So not just the numbers are changing, but in this particular problem, what it's asking for is changing. Here's where we get into a little bit of a bind. Notice that this first number up here is 69.2, and as I go to the next part of this, oops, it changed on me, didn't it? 65. So I think what we're experiencing is that, and look at this, car parts and accessories now, and aluminum, rather than what were we looking at before, petroleum products. So things are moving around on you. And I think as you're advancing forward and backwards, working on the problems, this might be sneaking up on you. What I'm going to do to solve the problem is I am going to give you points for that problem. I will do that when I post the grades into pause. Okay, so I apologize for the frustration. I tell you what I tell all students at this particular point. Even books make errors in the back of the book. In this case, it's really not so much an error. Well, I would say I guess it's an error in the way the computer program is perhaps not locking on to those numbers. But I will give you points for that, and it is great that you are getting very sound in the process of solving the problem, and that's what all this is about. That's what the unlimited attempts is about. In the olden days, we just simply flipped to the back of the book and looked up the answer. This by randomizing the numbers and the wording a little bit, we're really solidifying that no matter what the numbers are, the process is what you know how to do, and that's what any math class is the process. Now, I want to compliment, I'm going to show you one student's submission, and a couple of you have done this, made great strides in this, and it helps me a lot. Because the sequence of the problems is different for every student and different in every single one of your unlimited attempts, and the numbers are also randomized. What I need you to do to talk about the problems, and we'll do this a lot throughout the semester, is I need you to copy and paste this entire problem, you know, Control A and Control C. That's Control A is select all, Control C is copy, and then open up something like Word and paste it in. Now, once you're in this Word document, what I need you to do, and this student did this just perfectly, is he said, these are the numbers that I think I should be using. And then he goes on to says, but the solution in connect are these other numbers. And this was so clear that as I look at this, I understood exactly what the situation was. Now, we're going to be talking back and forth about problems quite a bit. If you want to use a video software, I think Google now has something called wevideo.com. But anyway, lots of different videos and websites and all this. If you're comfortable doing that, you can explain your problem to me. If not, again, just copy and paste. Go over here to the to the website to where you see the answers. Yours looks a little different than mine, okay? Control A on your keyboard selects everything. Control C, or you can also right click and copy it. Go over here to the Word document and paste it, and then type in there. Now, you don't have to do it exactly like this. This is an example. However, you can explain to me what you think. Now, tell you what I also tell all my students, which is sometimes you'll get to a problem and you'll read it and you'll say, I don't even know where to get started. Just don't even know. Okay? I can work with that. I really can. I'll say, oops, I'll start talking to you and I'll say, do you recognize this as a binomial or a hypergeometric? These are in later chapters, okay? And you'll say, no, no, okay, and then we'll talk about that. It takes a little longer because I got to get you on board. But sometimes the reaction is, oh, I knew that already. I've already been trying that, and I've tried this, and I've tried the other, and I've tried 7 other things. Well, see, I don't know that. I don't really know where you're at in the process. So the more you can tell me, see, the beautiful thing about this is that this student said to me, this is x1 and this is x2. These are my variables. These are the numbers that I am using in the problem, and when I compare that to the solution, this is where it's wrong. And it's just very clear, and the what happens with that is 2 things. I'll go ahead and spoil something I'll repeat to you again later. There's 2 beautiful things that happens. One is I save you a lot of time because sometimes it is as easy as me looking at that page and saying, you know what, you transposed some numbers. Or this looks perfect. Perhaps you made an error typing it into your calculator. Okay, it helps me to point you in exactly the right direction. Now, here's the second beautiful thing that happens. 9 times out of 10 when I get an email like this, in this case it's a computer problem and I'm going to give you points. That's a really beautiful thing. But oftentimes the computer is correct, okay? Oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes. And 5 minutes later, the student will say, never mind, I figured it out. Because what you really needed to do was just to organize your thoughts and to write it down. And as you wrote it down, it clicks for you. Okay, now, in these earlier chapters, the concepts are a little bit easier. This is a computer problem, but it helps to get you comfortable with the system. So, again, I apologize for the computer error. I am going to give you points for that. There's 2 students in particular who have reported this problem, and I will tell you also that I give bonus points for that. I call them finder's fees. If you do discover a blatant error like this is, I don't want you to memorize how to work it incorrectly. I would much rather that you report the error. So to encourage you to do that, I'm going to award bonus points, and so I will let those students know. So do report the error, and for those of you who are still working on this, be aware that there is a problem with Part C in regards to the Canada exported data. And what the error is you have to be really careful about going forwards and backwards through the problem, because the numbers and the words in the problem are going to change on you a little bit. Okay, so you're doing great. I appreciate everybody out there working, and I know you've got a lot going on, and keep up the good work, and I hope that you're learning a lot. Thanks.